Hello, Ken here, aka the William. Starting the first devlog to capture the progress of my UE5 game currently titled Jarl's Favour. The idea behind the game, I'll just press play, we'll have a look. It's in Unreal Engine 5. The idea behind the game is a Viking Nordic mushroom collection survival kind of experience. This is just a proof of concept level that I'm working on at the moment. I've created a weather system, which is weather and lighting are going to be two main players in exploring the game itself, or the two main mechanics of the game. So I've got a basic landscape happening, or not basic. It's a nice little landscape. I've got some procedural foliage and trees all sorted out. A weather system. I'm using ultra dynamic sky, which is fantastic, and I've manipulated it heavily. I'll show you that blueprint in a minute. Actually, I can show you that blueprint now. The music you're hearing, by the way, is my own. The game will have nothing but my own music. So this is the weather system. It is a little bit messy like spaghetti, but it's very complicated and it's working quite well. I've got a lot going on. I'll explain it. Probably better to walk through it so you can see what's happening. So we have deforming snow. That's just part of ultra dynamic sky. The snow on top of the foliage, or these rocks, trees and so on, that isn't ultra dynamic sky. That's a material function controlled by a material parameter collection that came with this biome basically, and I've blended the two together, which you can see on the left there, those numbers that are growing. If it says snow growing, that means exactly that, the ultra dynamic sky variable is increasing, or parameter. The blue number you see there, that's the current wind state. As you can see, the snow is coming straight down, so the wind, there's basically no wind. If is true, that's just saying that it is snowing. Once the number there was at 0.9 now, once that gets over 0.5, that is when we begin to see this dusting of snow. Because the game started on snow, it's a little hard to explain. Let me show you how it works. So, for example, the snow on top of our mushroom man's head here will disappear when it stops snowing. So if I go to change the weather to clear, we'll now see those numbers starting to go down, and we see that I've got a little debug word there, minus, meaning the snow is receding. What will happen first is this deeper snow that I'm leaving footprints in will disappear. It'll fade away, it'll turn into puddles, and another layer, my material function layer, this dusted snow that we're looking at here on top of the rock and on this landscape, that'll remain for a little bit longer. So that gives me a more realistic snowing effect, where just you don't gain and lose the thick layers of snow. It sort of transitions away slowly, leaves puddles behind too, which is part of a ultra dynamic sky function. It's great. For some reason, sunset gets really red. I don't mind it, but I will remove it. Got some auroras happening in the sky again, ultra dynamic sky. I have a bit of wetness going on the clothing, I think. Slightly. That's left over from the snow. There will be animals. I have no AI at the moment. Oh yeah, there's some wetness. So after snow, things will be a bit wet. The auroras look great. And we see a bit of glow over here. The game will be about collecting mushrooms, but there's going to be a lot more than that. There's survival and mythical fables and dark Nordic lore involved. if I can turn my light off, you'll see glow-in-the-dark mushrooms much easier to find at night time. And the aurora can light up the whole forest. It's fantastic. That's my primary goal for this game, is to have the environment do a lot of the heavy lifting. And if it exists in the environment, sort of a Chekhov's gun approach, then it must have function. For example, the snow, where it is snowing and deep, it just makes it harder to find mushrooms, and the mushrooms get covered in snow as well, so it's just harder to hunt for mushrooms during the heavy snow. Fog plays a huge part. I've got a lot of fog going on in this map because you're mostly always going to be in a forest. So I want those God rays shining through. They look good. I'm just pushing the lighting and environmental design to hide a lot of the indie stuff that's going on, because I'm pretty new to all this, so I don't have tessellation or nanite turned on the landscape. I tried, so just kept crashing, chewing up too much memory. Whole bunch of things. I'm not worrying about virtual textures, so the rocks aren't blending into the texture. Again, the lighting, the fog, and the undergrowth should cover most of that. So back to the weather system. As we can see, it transitions through a day-night cycle and also random weather. The random weather will have effect on the player. If it's cold, they'll lose health, and so on. This mushroom man here, by the way, I can go to first person view, turn my light back on, you can have a little bit of a look at him. It's pretty freaky, it's cool. He'll just be one of the enemies. As you continue through the forest picking mushrooms and killing animals, the forest will rebel. They don't, the spirits of forest won't really like you harming it that much, is one of the premises of the game. So I'll change the time of day again. Here we go, nice bright. I do have the latitude, longitude set to Scandinavia, so the sun never really gets high in the sky. I think that adds a lot of atmosphere as well. I'll switch back out of first person. Let's go for a little wander. I think there's a hill up over here where you can see the landscape. There will be flora and fauna that you can interact with. Again, I don't have any AI. This is our character. Don't have any facial animations on her yet, so she looks a little just weird. Don't have any eye movement, it's blinking. I'll work on that. Here we go. It's a huge landscape. I've managed to get it fairly performant. In fact, while I'm here, I'll just turn the memory size up for textures. So streaming pool size, and I'm giving it 3 GB of video card memory. And let's check what current frame rate is. 40, that's fine. I'm happy with anything above 30. It's not a first person shooter. Single player game where the looks of the game matter. So if I can keep it above 40, and of course going to run some performance passes on it, then that's okay. Obviously I'm going to want 60 would be a nice goal, but we'll see. Let's change the time of day again. Oh, look at that, did it for us. There we go, we can see the distance, the mountains in the background. You can explore those mountains. There'll be mushrooms and monsters on there. That's a long, long way away. It takes about 20 minutes of in-game walking to get there. In between that is currently forest, but there will be villages, towns, caves. Once I've got the whole way the weather works, it'll help me define how to build the landscape as well. Because I want areas where you can shelter from, for example, a blizzard. Let's show you a blizzard. Here it comes. And you'll see on the left the snow is growing again. Once that red number that's at 006 at the moment reaches 5, we'll begin to see snow on the ground. Head back to our little campfire. Fire will warm the player up, and this is what I mean. So a blizzard like this will be not much fun to be out hunting mushrooms. So what you probably want to do is find shelter, a cave, or in this case, let's turn the light off. Here we go. There's a little fire over here. Just abandoned huts or people's homes or so on. It'll be a living forest. So you could go in here and hide. If we go underneath the roof, you should hear the, not that I can fit under there, you would hear attenuation of the sound. The blizzard would sound a little further away, but the hut's a little too embedded in the landscape here. Here we go, the snow is starting to form. So we've reached 3.7, okay. So the snow we're seeing is the ultra dynamic sky snow, and now we're about to see the material function snow, or the snow material, appear on this rock and this log and so on. I need to fix that up a little. I want that appearing before the ultra dynamic sky. I thought that was working. Here it grows. It's meant to be the reverse. I want the dusting first, thick layer second. That's cool, I like it. That's a living, breathing, dynamic weather system. And nights get very dark, as you can see. It's deliberate. So you can find glow-in-the-dark mushrooms easier, and to scare the pants off you. There are monsters out here, and if it's light, if it's dark, you're going to want some kind of light. This little floating lantern here will come later in the game. You won't start the game with it. Let's head back to our little campfire. Our mushroom man, I call him Mike. And change the time of day. Let's change it to some rain. The weather system won't allow for rain before or after snow, kind of like real life. If it's snowing, or that'll be an altitude based thing, but I basically have told the weather, if it's snowing, it'll take a while before it rains. I'm not going to bother with snow melting from the rain and so on. It'll just be, it doesn't randomly jump between snow and rain immediately. You can see clothes starting to get wet, so I've got a material function again, that's part of ultra dynamic sky. I'll just put in a whole bunch of materials like our mushroom man here, jump in first person, we'll be able to see him just start to glisten from the wet. The fox, no, I won't worry about that one. Snow stays away from the fire, another cool function of ultra dynamic sky. Let's get some beauty passes going on. So we'll go into clear skies. There we go. And we'll go for a wander. Don't worry about this floating grass. I had a river here that I was experimenting with. There will be water. These puddles we see down here are left over from the rain. That's pretty cool. And this square sheet is a water experiment that I'm playing with as well. A little bit too deep. Just got the music on loop, just helps define what it is I'm looking for. I'll be writing a lot of music for this game, like this piece. think it looks great. I'm going to put a lot more work into it, but this is a solid foundation. And again, this is just the proof of concept. Hopefully entice the player to relax and go find some mushrooms, and occasionally a little bit of combat, a little bit of survival, some interaction and Nordic mythical lore to learn about. Don't have any health systems or anything, so there's no fall damage implemented yet. There of course will be. As you can see, those trees up there are way up on a hill. So I like the landscape. I designed that in Gaia, which I'll show in another devlog. And I'm working on adjoining landscape, so there'll be a bit of snow, tundra, and some cave systems and Nordic Viking coastal landscapes. Yeah, a bit steep. I just fell. Anyway, I think that gives you an overview of proof of concept. Day one, really, although I've spent a few days on this, of course, but just aligning and figuring out what I want before I start the build proper. So the next step will be to implement some AI. It's all going to be basic. I'm not an advanced designer by any means. But if I just trick the player enough to think it's a bit more than basic, just like this landscape, it looks better than, I mean, it looks great in my opinion. But it's actually quite basic. It's very flat ground here. The foliage, procedural foliage generation is doing a lot of the work, as is just the art design and the skylight. I've tweaked quite a bit to get it to look like this and gently transition between states, which I have a number of, quite a few. Partly cloudy, not much change there. Cloudy. There we go. The sun dims a little. Overcast. It's getting even darker. Just makes the forest a little bit more foreboding when it's dark over that way. And it's only 3 PM. Foggy. I need to fix that effect up. I think that's a bit of exposure balancing, the way it's sort of pulsing light and dark when you turn around. Rain, we've seen that. Thunderstorms are fantastic. And loud, but the lightning is great, especially at night time. See any? There we go. Trees are blocking the best view of it, but it really does light up the sky and the forest itself when a lightning strikes. Enough of that, it's quite loud. Snow, blizzard, we've seen all that. These are just different foggy situations. Oh no, they're actually dusty. I will change that. Oh, that does look cool. They don't occur in the random environment. This little widget here is just for my testing purposes. Won't be part of the game. Though you will have magical abilities or items that you can use to adjust the weather. There we go, there's devlog number 1, Unreal 5. A really messy weather blueprint here. Doing a lot of work. I'll unravel that in future if I can, and show you how it actually functions. And a lot of work to go, but I think I've got the look and the feel of the landscape down right, which I wanted to start with because it's defining the pace of the game, is how I would put it. Along with the music, those will be the driver between over how it plays.